everyone, and welcome
Hi.
to Self Achievement Network. My name's Dominic, and I am here with Zanaya. Hello, Zanaya,
Hello. Hello from Prague.
and hello from Chicago. We actually haven't been on for quite a while, and we were just talking in the background a little bit. It's been maybe 2 years, 1.5 years, 2 years.
I think it's 1 year. Then I did some interviews with other people that had certain to do with passion and and purpose, and then I had my own internal process, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, a lot has changed. Today is the let's see, the 30th of April. No, the 30th of
Time is illusion.
I know.
It's just illusion. Now it's 31st of March.
The 30th of March,
First,
23rd, the 30th of March, right? No, it's not.
you're getting high on those detox drinks.
The 31st. Yes, it is the 31st. See, I'm since I've been retired, I don't keep track of time anymore. Now I'm only living in the present.
Honestly, it's the best thing you can do because there is where the magic happens when you get lost. When you get, of course, we need to be there and there, but when you're focusing on something like losing the track of the time is the best thing to become truly creative and like create magic.
And I have been very creative, putting my thoughts and my experiences down on paper. So we're going to talk about let's go right into it. So the topic today, the underlying topic is about freedom. And so, I mean, this is a really, to me, is probably the most important thing in life.
Absolutely.
And there's, it's not like, I don't know, people would probably have different opinions. At my old age of 64, I see now that freedom is the most important thing for me because, like, when I was younger, I used to think it was money. Then I thought it was family, and then I thought it was
Change.
spirituality, and then I thought it was health, and now it's like, wait a minute, it's really about freedom. And so that's what we're going to talk about. And I have my own experience. Zanaya has her own experience. And
Yes.
so why don't you start and just tell us a little bit about you and just brief. Who are you?
Yeah, well, freedom is, I was like really surprised in a good way when you chose this topic because it really hit the bullseye because I think it's whatever we do, like the most important thing we subconsciously seek is to freely express ourselves, and whether it's for the validation or for whatever, we want to be free. And of course there is so many interpretations for each person because each person is unique human being. It's something else, but it's like many pathways to this. It's like with religions and God. Yeah, I don't want to like fall into religions now in this talk, but it's the same, like so many ways, but ultimately everyone finds that in heart. And I've been really dealing with a lot of freedom topic in my past because like my past year was truly digging deep into my own shadows and finding out how I can be truly myself. And when you told me we're going to talk about freedom, I would write there like so many things because I could talk about it an hour. But the first thing that came into my mind when you told me freedom was one quote, or it's not like a quote, it's not quoting anyone, but I think I wrote it once when I was feeling really the worst, when I was feeling like I'm controlled by my inner saboteurs and critics and all that stuff. And I told myself, like, highest form of freedom is freedom from illusionary roles we've been trained to play that created the subconscious limiting beliefs. So, we always, all our life, we inherit so many labels and stickers what we are. And sometimes it put us to huge pressure and tension and friction because we might be someone else, but we want to please people and show them like I'm like that and like this and prove yourself. And sometimes it's not who we are. So sometimes we can pulled to not being our true selves. And I think that's the freedom, because we can be physically free. I experienced it. I traveled all around the world. I lived in Thailand. I lived in beautiful places, and I didn't feel free. So if we want to make change in the world, and it's not by, of course, that's also important part, like you, I don't know, take part in some demonstrations and protests, but it's truly about changing and shifting our inner state. And that's how we are shining example that paves the light and everything for others. And it sounds kind of like, woo woo stuff or esoteric stuff, but for me this year I was really trained hard to ground and see the reality for what it is, and not just fly on the clouds and think with when I'm free it's just like trying to disembody from myself from the reality, but it's truly standing in your power, and that requires inner work. So, and that's a huge topic, because that's another level, how to shift from survival mind to higher mind, which is our sage. And that's something that everybody can do.
Mm-hmm. It everything that you're saying right now to me is it's like it makes a lot of sense. My
Yes.
version kind of goes back about, oh, I don't know, maybe sometime when I was a little kid, and
Yes.
I heard this verse. Now I'm not a religious person, but I heard this verse, and it was, "The truth will set you free."
Yeah.
And when I first heard that, it was like it's just stuck there, and it's like that makes so much sense, but what the hell does that mean? And later on, of course, I learned that it was a quote from Jesus in the Bible. And
Yes.
then for many, many years, I didn't even, I mean, I heard it over and over. The truth will set you free. The truth will set
Right.
you free. But I never really explored it until about 30 years ago. So I was about 30 when I first began to really look at what this whole the truth will set you free is about.
Yes.
And so I just recently wrote a book, finally got it out of here into, I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Congrats.
So I got it out of my brain and put up to a book, and that's the cover. Now, I'm going to change the cover a little bit because what you can't see. Well, let me ask you, what do you see?
You mean like I see the ultimate game, and for me, it always represents like we truly live in a holographic reality, and this is like a game we came here to play, but not in a bad sense, but truly play a role for a while. So I love the name, because every day I'm being proven in synchronicities. It's game and played the best. So I love the name of it.
Thank you. And so then the picture, the photograph there is something that I borrowed. And I have another one that I'm going to use instead that is like this.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the one that's up it's up there right now is a female. This one is non-gender.
All right.
Okay. And it shows two paths, right?
Yes.
So we could go this way or we could go this way. And we always have this choice, either
Yes.
to tell the truth or not tell the truth. However, there's a big however there. What I'm talking about is not about telling the truth to other people, external truth. I'm talking about internal truth.
Yes.
It's completely different. And so when I at that age of about 30, it had this, had these aha moments, like mind-blowing experiences, right? Like,
Actually, like really, like they say the age of Jesus when you're getting closer to it, like 29, 30. I've been experiencing crazy shifts. It's not just like oh I found out, but external circumstances and all things forcing you to totally shift the paradigm. So I absolutely agree.
absolutely. Yeah. And so, I mean, I had this mind-blowing like insight that when I heard my mentor, my teacher, talking about the truth will set you free. And he says, everybody thinks it's about telling the truth to other people. Well, that's very important. However, the most important thing is about being true to yourself. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden I was just like, wow, that's the thing that for the first 30 years of my life, I didn't do. I
Yeah.
mean, to a what's the word? It's like I would be true to myself, but I would be true to myself at the expense of other people.
Yes, people pleasing. I have a interesting, actually, I'm coming up with the course that I'm putting on my page, which is called People Unpleasing. It's a sub topic, and I want to tell about it because it's very much connected to freedom. Because our freedom truly isn't physical, but it's about, and not in an arrogant way, to really become free from the chains that other people put on us. And it comes from very, very early childhood, when we basically walk on eggshells because we are afraid what parents would say, or we hear that, and then it really wires in, and we are afraid to be ourselves. It was my case. I needed to be hit by the car and had really hard accidents to wake up. And even last year I had hard tests to, like, wake up, just be yourself, and it's actually a survival strategy to please others, and it causes us to suffocate. And as we know, and I studied Chinese medicine already the third year, it basically truly toxifies your organs. So where does the cancer come from, and all the diseases and illnesses? It's from suppression your true blueprint and authentic self, and when you, and like I said, I will talk about how it's connected with subconscious and conscious, because it's truly not just like a metaphorical talk, but when you truly begin to embody your authentic self unapologetically, and you put down the mask how they want you to be, it creates like a huge wave, like a friction, because you will start to basically challenge the narratives of other people. I lost a lot of friends because of that. And like, we're taught like everything will remain the same, especially from our parents. You have one word and one group of people, but when you find out everything starts to fade away, like when a Buddhist monk creates this beautiful mandala, and then he just destroy it.
Right.
That's how my life was, like, and that's when soul, that's what like soul makes to you, to your ego, like, okay, you build it and now you have to destroy it to start over, but with a different wisdom. And that's what happened to me. And I lost many people in process. And of course, what inner critic does, you start to blame yourself. You think it's just your fault, but sometimes it's just a natural process, because you basically, you become this rebel. But not many people are rebel without the cause, but you will, there is a difference between a natural rebel and between the real rebel, when you start to really change, not being a rebel for its sake, but you see through bullshit. Because when you start to see the bullshit in your mind and all your inner saboteurs, and you are starting to be more aware of your self-sabotage, you will start to see it in other people. And it's my experience. So many times I didn't have solid boundaries. I led myself to bullshit, to distractions, to total waste of time. And while time is the most precious, uh, how we pay, right, in this
Yeah.
life. And when you start to not giving into it, of course people will start to leave you, even those you thought, "Oh, they are spiritual, they will be with you." But it's your own mirror, because you won't be able to stand illusions, and your raw reality will confront them. So you will start to basically transform all and transmute all the relationships, and some will stay, some will go, but it's like next level. But what is important, this inner truth and inner freedom, is that no matter what happens outside, of course, we are emotional beings. We are wired to feel. We will feel, but your ability to shift from that state, like you will be able, from that inner critic that always criticize yourself and situations and others, which are, of course, just your mirrors. I'm Libra, so I learn through relationships, and I'm always seeking subconsciously to find harmony, balance. I go to extreme and to the other extreme, and then I go back. So it was always for me about the justice. I always used to be in some unjust situations, and I would be the one who would stand and say, and I was always worst for it, right? So you're like, that's not fair. But then you find out when you're truly being yourself, the right people will come to you, and those who left you just emptied the cup, and that was for highest good, and you are still able to find security within yourself. Even anyone, many people leave you. Like last year for me, it was in 1 month lots of things screwed up, like in financial way, relations, like all illusions were crumbling in once. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And of course, first you're like, it's very bad, because we tend to say it's bad, good. We tend to always put it to these two boxes. But then I realized it really served me for this duty to, it was forcing me, you have to be true, you can't please others and act like someone you're not, or some programs that were installed into you, even in relationships. So I said, like, we need to really unplease the people, because even science is finding out that when you get back from this head, because everyone is just running around like overstimulated brain, we lost contact with our body. Basically, we always are in head. We are having this hyperachiever trauma that we still have to, achiever is great, but hyperachiever is based on, like, I don't have value if I don't produce more and do more, and you're never satisfied. So you totally like lose the touch, and you're even hyperachiever in relations. Not everyone, but I'm saying about like main leader of saboteurs. And we are totally pulled away and being drawn by other energies of people. And then we forget like the keys to slow down, to go back into your own frame. And that is truly magnetic, because it really happened to me when I gave up, truly, when I found out that as a seed you cannot just grow to the light, but you have to go to your roots, which is the shadow where no one wants to look. But in order to rise, this beautiful ancient oak must have a deep roots. You must return to your own frame, which is magnetic. You must release this negativity that you have, because they say issues are in tissues, and it's all wired in our nervous system. Therefore, if you want to change the world, you have to embody it in yourself, and that means peeling the layers of illusions that are preventing you from freedom and truth. And when you peel it and peel it, you start to find out, oh, I'm more aware of who I am, what I want, how I feel in my body, what is my blueprint, what is my mission, what I want to create. And that's the natural state. The funny thing is, it's not something you gain. We have it already within, but no one taught us how to remove all that chatter, all that things and layers that are not us. And once you basically, how I want to say, once you embody that, like, no one can stop you. There will be, everything will be more wu wei. It's called wu wei in Chinese medicine, which means effortless ease, because you're in your true frequency, so everything will start flow to you effortlessly. I mean, of course you have to put in the work, but I see it on myself that many things, that when I release the things that are not aligned with me anymore, more and more starts to come with interesting synchronicities. I do something, but I don't need that much effort. So when we have this strong inner critic, we always think we must do more, always work hard to get something. Of course, we need discipline. We need to work hard. But sometimes it's about being magnetic and get back into the body, basically.
Wow.
I don't know if it's like understandable, but
It was a lot. No, it was totally understandable. And so it's a couple of things, like, so for example, I used to think that there was just like this physical body, and the food that we ate was just the thing that was nourishing the body. And then if we ate bad food, junk food, then it would not treat the body so good, and this stuff. But the more that I began to explore, the reality is that we are energy. And so
yes.
at the molecular level, at the cellular level, there's so much going on, and chemical reactions that are going on. What is that about? And it's all really about energy, and it's not just the physical part of us, it's also the thought process.
Yes.
So we are an energy, but one thing that I was never taught was that I can, in fact, not only direct my energy, but I can control my energy.
Yes, absolutely.
I can control it, and in a very practical way. So many years went by that, in my teens and 20s and even my early 30s, that I felt very like out of control, like I didn't have any way to guide my life or to guide my thoughts,
Yes.
or and everything was happening to me. And so um, when I look back now, and when I realize that the truth is that I do have the power to control, I do have the power to direct,
Absolutely.
to choose my um, destinies, to choose my all the areas of my life. I can choose how I want to design those areas, and I can choose how I want to feel, everything like that. What I had been doing was deceiving myself in so many ways, and I didn't know that I was actually deceiving myself. I was lying to myself.
Yes.
And so when I was younger, I mean, I never even had the thought. So okay, so if somebody had walked up to me and said, "Dominic, do you lie or do you tell the truth?" Of course, what would I say?
I think you would say like I'm totally like me. You don't even know. It's so numbed that you think it's you. You're free. Everything is good. You know.
Right. I would absolutely say I tell the truth.
Yes.
Well, and then I would probably add, well, sometimes I kind of lie a little bit, little white lies here and there. And then if somebody also said to me, well, do you tell the truth to yourself? Are you true to yourself? Do you practice this? I'd be like,
Yes.
huh? What? What do you mean by that? I mean, have no idea what that really
Yes.
means.
Yes. Of course. It's like you're in a different like you when you're tuning in the radio. Sometimes I see it when because I'm saying lots of informations, and sometimes I can feel it immediately when people disconnect. It's like you are talking but they are not catching what you're saying. They are on a different frequency. It's like you tune the radio and you cannot hear other stations, you know.
Right. Can we explore it just for a moment or a few minutes? So let's talk about the difference between external lie and internal lie, right?
Your life, or sorry, I didn't hear it.
Lie,
Why?
right?
Yes.
So most people don't know, and this is what I've learned and I've observed. Most people, and I mean most people, like 99% of the people,
Yeah.
don't know that they're lying to themselves almost all the
Right.
time.
Right.
Okay. So like external lie would be like, so I intentionally distort my reality if I'm having a conversation with you, right? So I distort my reality. I may say something like, I really enjoyed that dinner that you cooked.
Yes.
And the truth is, underneath, maybe I didn't really enjoy it. So now
Okay.
I'm telling you this, which is a lie. I didn't really enjoy it, but I say because I want to
But
be.
consciously, you might think you enjoyed it, or you mean you really know you are lying, or you feel like you didn't enjoy it, but you say you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah. So what happens now is that now your reality is distorted.
Yeah, that's the inner conflict, actually. That's the internal disbalance between hemispheres and our yin and yang, actually.
Exactly. So that's like in the on the cover of the book, it shows these two different right directions. So
Every single day we have this choice, every
everything
single moment, actually.
exactly right. So an external lie would be where I intentionally distort our mutual
Right?
realities. Now you go off into your life thinking that Dominic really enjoyed the meal. So
Yes.
we now multiply that distortion by how many people are on the planet?
I don't even know anymore.
9 billion people, right?
Right.
And it's distorting. So the whole society right now is operating in a complete and total distortion.
Yeah. and it's crazy. Like I'm not saying I'm this I'm doing a challenge, which is like 8 week
Tell me.
challenge, and it's like a mental fitness, but not just mental. It's about really rewiring your nervous system. And the funny thing is, it's like with the detox, like the detox you are doing. I bet there is a certain time. It's like inhabiting new habit. Like when you're training a new path and you're incorporating a new pathway in your mind, and more we do something, we strengthen that pathway. It's like a superhighway.
Yeah.
And more we do the old, they say like repetition is a wisdom, but not always. If we always repeat the same old thing, the neural pathways become so huge. So when we do the different thing, we need to really put a lot of effort. So let's say that's why the detox or whatever we are doing is difficult. So I'm sure there came a time in your detox that you were doing now that you felt like quitting, or like I can't do it anymore, or you started to feel worse. You felt like you did downgrade 5 steps back, right? Sometimes at some point.
Yeah. That's natural. Yeah.
It's
Uh-huh.
totally natural. And same, totally same goes with our brain, with our consciousness, you know? So many people don't even get into that point when they start to upgrade their consciousness, because it's so difficult, because we were trained to live in old inherited programs from our parents, from our childhood, from our family line for so long that we think it's us. And that's actually from where inner conflict is is created, because there is our authentic free true self, which we are talking about, right? It's like it's our natural core, and then there are all these programs and things we put on ourselves from authorities in childhood. I could talk for a really long time, because when I was in Egypt, I was working with technologies that were according to our meridians, because everything is connected, the negative emotions and organs and how we can strengthen them with meridians, which are energetic pathways. And according to that, which is weak, we could see which subconscious beliefs, the negative beliefs we hold. So it was crazy for me, because you could see the repetitive pattern in people, that it's really truly about their beliefs, what's the life and quality we are creating. And the most important issue we have, which is causing this lack of I wrote it down, actually. I wanna this is the only thing I wrote down about the freedom, and I want to read it. How we feel when we are in our true state of freedom and when we are not. No, doesn't matter what how we healed it or whatever. So the state when we are not in freedom, because people think freedom is about like just expressing something on the board, or it's about internal, like you said, internal lies. So when we are lying to ourselves internally, we feel stuck, we feel blocked, overwhelmed, we are feeling like in a vicious cycle that we want to change, but there is no way out. It's like loops of negative cycles and self-talk and same situations and people that are coming to our life in different codes. You cannot like manifest your greatest desire. You sabotage yourself every single day, even though you have lots of tools. It's because it's stronger than mental, it's energetic, it's deeply wired. We are experiencing codependency, like we cannot be happy without someone else's validation or without the relationship. Of course there must be a we don't have that's not a topic about relationships, but you know what I mean. We feel imposter, we feel anxiety, unheard, unseen. We are struggling with expressing ourselves and the truth, and we feel basically like a bystander in life, like you are not in your driving seat. And it's like, of course I don't have to say it's coming, then it's becoming a chronic anger and anxiety and lack of focus. And I was in actually like 2 weeks ago I was doing qigong in a place where there are people who are having like psychiatric issues. And when I spoke with them, those were not the people who are in the worst level, like they cannot move or something. They were just using antidepressives. And when I spoke with them, it was horrific that I found out the main issue is truly their nature was suppressed. And of course what Western medicine does, it even makes you more numb and my teacher of medicine, he expressed it amazingly, and he's totally not against the Western medicine, but he was comparing it, and he says like what Western medicine does often, of course it's amazing when you need to go to surgery, when you need to, heal the symptoms, but what is before that, there is a tree, and the tree has its roots, and it's how you call the, sorry, in English, roots,
Trunk,
and then
the trunk.
yes,
Yeah.
and the Western medicine basically solves the leaves. There are these leaves that are already totally dry and black and red, and they try to paint it green. And what, let's say, Chinese or Eastern medicine does is trying to protect the roots and the what?
The
What
trunk.
is it? Yes, sorry. So that's when I saw these people have such amazing potential, but they just they just forgot their essence, and when I was doing qigong, it was amazing because I felt so connected with them when they, in this practice, when you are truly through the movement, which is a medicine, you are truly stimulating your energy centers, you become more present and more connected to self. They told me like, for a while I felt like it's me, so it truly is in our nervous system. And I would love to say to everyone, but of course we cannot save everybody, that how you can truly save yourself, that you don't die before you truly die, that being alive, and everyone has this potential,
Well, I think that, you know, there's a there's some truth to the fact that, some people die before they're actually dead, right?
Yeah, and I know many of them in my age.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So where do you see the most people with the most freedom? Where do you see that mostly?
That's
Very
a tricky that's a tricky question, because
very obvious.
more I practice, I will try to say it shortly. More I practice Qigong, more I'm sensitive. So sometimes I can feel these people according to the way they talk or what I feel next to them, because they say energy doesn't lie. They can say anything, but you feel that there is something more with these people, the way they act, they move, they talk. There is this inner peace in the body, in their nervous system. There is not this survival state of fight or flight. You can see it in their body that they are so laid back in a good way. They are like,
People
so
on the
I can
planet.
feel it. And the funny thing is, they are everywhere, but they are like hidden, So I recently had an amazing talk with a lady that was selling in secondhand, and she was so aware and so pleased by the work. So, and it showed me like she's selling the old clothes, but she's doing every movement precisely and she's enjoying it. So it's not like people think like, oh, I want to save the world, so I need to be a healer or a therapist. It's about, she talked, and I saw like how she was talking to the people, and she was sparking the inspiration inside of people, just by being who you are. That's the amazing thing about when
So
you
where
change.
what group of people on our planet carry that freedom more than anybody? There's a group of people, very specific people, that have this, that every single day when they wake up, it's their in total embodiment is freedom. They live it. They don't even know it's like a fish swimming in water. They don't even know they're in water.
Yes.
So what group of people are they?
Usually, there are people who found their purpose and passion. It can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be a healer or therapist.
Children.
Ah, that's what you mean. Okay. That's a tricky one for
Children,
sure.
for sure. Why? Why is it children? I mean,
Because
it's so obvious, right?
because they're like a blank page, because society still didn't put their this tension, and they have still
They
inside this
haven't they
inner.
haven't learned to play the game.
Yes.
They haven't learned to not to lie to themselves. They haven't learned. They don't
Yes.
have this like social coat that they have to wear. Like when
Right.
and children learn it 6, 7, 8. They're
Yes.
now they're learning, because what do they do when they start turning that age? Oh, did you clean your room? Yes, mommy. You know,
Yeah.
they're starting to learn how to deceive themselves and other people. They're learning how to play this game, right?
They didn't lose their
Innocence.
curiosity and their playfulness.
Innocence.
Innocence, curiosity, playfulness,
They
and
have it
being in
all.
the presence, like they can cry and suddenly, I'm good. They don't hold the grudge.
And if somebody, yeah, they're so good at being pure and innocent, right? That I could, as parents, I could say, don't do that. You shouldn't, you're bad. And they'll be like,
Yes.
okay. And because
Right.
they don't know how to carry that around. So the
Right.
people that I see that are out there in the world that have learned, like, okay, so if I'm going to get back to the freedom of being a child, the inner child, what are those things? What does everybody want? They want to be happy. What are children?
Right.
People want to have confidence. People look at children. Are they confident? Yes, they'll climb up things and they'll do things that are crazy. They have all of the qualities that we as adults used to have.
Wow.
That
Thank you, Dominic.
we want now as an adult. The question is, how do we get back there?
Thank you for this one. It was amazing reminder because you see, you got me in this one. And actually, I'm at this point where I was pretty much suppressed as a child. I was always this kind of little dragon child who would be always, not able to sit and doing voices and sounds. And my mom told me at some point, of course, she didn't mean it bad, but this is how small traumas are being inherited when they tell you, stop it, you're too much, you're too much. And then you realize you're too much. And this is how like the mind works. When you're from 0 to 6, you work in a different frequency, alpha state of mind, where you take in everything so seriously. And then all life, you're, for example, it's enough when teacher of drawing tells you you're bad drawer. They don't even mean it. They see, and then you stop drawing for all life, even though you have a tremendous talent. So this is how powerful what they tell us is. And I'm not blaming other people for that. I'm saying how it works.
And
So
the tragedy is that most people don't know that they're doing it.
yes, and that's why educating is so important to understand what impact we have on future generation. You know, they teach us everything. We have to memorize everything from this masculine analytical part, but they don't teach us basic things.
Yeah.
And that's where our inner critic starts to hijack us. Their voice starts to become our inner voice, and
Right. So what's a
we can go through all life and we don't know about it.
right? What's
That's
a good
crazy.
example?
We take it as it's normal, but our natural state, let me tell you, our natural state is this childish. But there is a difference between childish, because some people consider some people childish because they are having like a low EQ and they never grew up and they can take care about themselves. I'm talking about the real childish nature, which is what you said, is innocence, is playfulness, it's fearlessness, it's curiosity. And that's because they are operating from this sage mind, which is, you can call it higher self, you can call it intuition, but they are still operating from the sage mind, which is frontal cortex. Frontal cortex is wired to positive emotions. It's that present moment, when we are in the present moment, where all these saboteurs, this hijacking mind, which we think is normal, doesn't operate, this survival mind, because it operates always with, when we blame ourselves or others, we always think about what will happen, or we blame ourselves for what happened. But these children don't have it, because they basically always operate in the present moment. And this survival mind, it's been here since a while. When we were hunting and all that, it was needed. Of course, it's really needed, and it's hidden in our how it's called, cerebellum, the reptilian brain. But it's still surviving more and more, and most of the people don't know they live the whole life. And it's wired to this fight or flight mode, which is sympathetic nervous system, when we are always in the state of being frozen or going to the fight or flight. We're backing off, but we didn't learn how to face the thing, transform it, and go ahead. That's why most people, they are basically, their dream dies in graveyard or during life, because this survival mind, it's not like an enemy. You basically have to make friends with it, but it robs you from joy and basically from true perception, because it doesn't think logically, it just reacts. If you know, have you ever experienced that you saw someone who is, let's say, driving awfully, and he's really doing bullshit, and he's like threatening other people's life? So what your mind does, it never considers maybe he, and I'm not I'm not excusing him, but it never says like, okay, he might have been in fucked up situation, he might have something. He always says he's a douche, you know. So it basically reacts immediately. He doesn't, it's not logical, it's just reactive, you know. But when
Well,
we learn to
somebody like
basically,
that, in my perspective, in my they somebody like that, they don't know.
yes,
They don't know how to be a different way. They've been completely programmed
exactly,
the opposite direction. So anybody that is, uh, for a better word, mean, when they're mean to somebody, when they do mean things, when they do things that are inhumane or whatever,
yes,
they don't even know that that's happening to them.
yeah, exactly, exactly,
So they're completely innocent. I mean, what I was saying before about little kids, right? They have this innocence about them because they don't have any programming
judgment,
in it
judgment,
over time. But then they begin to learn. So somebody says you don't know how to draw really well. Well, then they, of course, begin to think that, and then they don't draw, or they don't speak their mind. Little kids will say things like, "Mommy, why does Uncle Charlie? Why does he smell like vodka all the time?"
yes,
And what does mommy do? Mommy says, "No, shh, no, 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 don't say this." So then this is another way that we get programmed, right?
yeah,
And so the kids are like, "Oh, I shouldn't say that." So they learn that parents are about lying and deceiving so that they, right? So they're choosing the wrong path all the time.
right,
And this is, we do this all the time. So, oh, I'm not good at drawing. I'm not good at drawing. I'm not good at drawing, which is
yes,
bullshit, because the truth is, if we wanted to be good at drawing, we could
you
be. We just
can,
take the
yes.
different path.
And you know what's funny? Like my dad, I always wanted to go to artist first, like drawing and painting, but then I realized I want to dance or I want to even act or sing. And my dad didn't force me, but he told me like, okay, you can do that, but you would never succeed because it's hard for money and stuff like that, you know? So I was living all my life in that. And now in my age of 29, I'm realizing when I truly removed by some inner work many blocks inside of me, the things literally regarding like creating new songs and vocals, or I'm acting in theater now, it started to flow towards me in a crazy ways, you know. And some would call it miracle, but it's just about, like you said, we are energy, we are electromagnetic beings, and more you peel the layers of what you're not, you are truly embodying and that frequency by not feeding anymore the wrong part of brain, the old one, which is saying you can't, you are stupid, and all the time this I'm doing, let me tell you, I'm doing this challenge. And the funny thing is, it's like detox. More you start to notice the saboteurs, they feel inside of you, because it's actually really like a research from World Mind Organization that there is 10 saboteurs, the judges: hyperachiever, people pleaser, restless, and so many, controller, saboteur, avoider. And they really started going off the hook. Like some people wouldn't know me, they think like I'm crazy, because it's like a talk, like um continuous talk between my true self and they're speaking, and you cannot do that. I'm like, shut up. You know, I was like, shut up. And my friend was like, what was that? And I was like, just me talking to my saboteur. But it's funny that more you are aware of it, more you are aware that you can do this other pathway, that you can live from that power of higher self, which is higher quality. It's basically what you came here for. It's a natural state. And it's not the power that people think, like your power to control others. It's true power that we all have, the power to create, to
So
manifest,
what
to
is
be
that?
free.
What is the
Yeah,
true?
and to be, sorry.
What is that true power? What
to
is,
grow, to create, to
no, no,
be
no.
vulnerable and authentic. And by being yourself, this pure innocent state, you can inspire so many people just by embodying.
How do we experience that true power? How?
Well, that's a great.
The inner voice.
Well, I wouldn't lie to you. It's not like you do one challenge or one meditation. When you were experiencing like 25 years of living in these old patterns, it takes a while. But for me, it started to come in very unexpected moments. You know, when they say when you don't push with this masculine force, like it needs to be like that. When you release and you start to become that more that yin, that receiving aspect, it would start in many come to in many ways, many unexpected blessings also in external life. Many times when, let's say, I found amazing apartment which is really huge here in Prague for really funny price, like this. When I did let go, when I really decided to let go after 2 months of searching, and I was already desperate, I did certain practices in Qigong, and I really 2 days I stayed with myself because I was feeling terrible. And suddenly my friend called me to register on one page, and this guy who was making rents, he said like, I had like 100 people who wrote me, but you seemed like trustworthy. And he didn't want anything, like effortlessly. That's that Wu Wei state. When you feel, you create a lot without effort. That's the first thing. And second thing, when you feel peace in your body, you know, for me, it's coming, especially in the movement. That's why they say um, flowing movement. Why the movement, but conscious movement is so much helpful for people. I would say it's because when you do the conscious movement, you basically activate lots of pumps in your body or your vertical line. And when you connect it with breathing, visualizing, and these ancient practices, which are really basically, it's well known for 5,000 years. So you really start to feel, so as you were in your brain, you started to do breath work and you started to move and you sit down and you feel energy flowing through your body. You feel warmth in your heart. You start to feel less saboteurs in your mind. Your mind is empty. You feel focused. You feel relaxed. You feel you can direct this energy, because many times we want to create, we feel drained. Then we want to sleep, we cannot sleep. You cannot control the yin and yang, but suddenly you feel you know exactly how you can control it.
We become
So
we
it's
when we work
true. Sorry.
when we work on our inner self, we become kindred in spirit.
Yes, exactly, to ourselves and to others, because we see they are acting just from the place of wound.
People can feel it, they can sense it. You know, when I began to shift my whole, like, you know, and I'm not going to say that I'm perfect, okay, because I'm not. I
No
will
one is perfect,
I
but
will lie.
is being perfectly imperfect.
I understand what you're saying, and I will lie sometimes, okay? So you have to watch me very carefully. I'm really good at it, okay? I'm skilled. But when I am truthful, when I'm true to myself, okay, what happens inside me is that I become somehow, I become softer and more
Yes,
gentle,
exactly.
and I become more like honorable, honoring myself. Like, you know, so here's an example. So about 2 months ago, beginning of the year, I'm talking to myself about, okay, so what am I going to do this year that's going to be different to improve my health?
Yes,
I mean, everybody knows that we have to work on our health. We know that, right? And
right.
so I'm like, okay, so I've tried it before and I've done changes and I did fasting and I did this and I did that. And, you know, so I got on Google and I start looking up, you know, okay, so what could I do, a program or something like this? And I kept finding all these different things. Everybody's got a
Mm-hmm.
solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next day I wake up and I open my phone and there's one of the notifications on YouTube, and it's this guy. His name is Dr. Berg, Berg.
Okay, I don't know him.
And so he talks about healthy keto,
I
and
know keto. I've done it for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
healthy keto. It's not regular keto, it's healthy keto and intermittent fasting. So I'm like, thank you. What is it? AI? How does it go? What is AI?
What do you mean,
Artificial,
artificial
artificial
intelligence?
intelligence. Artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
right? AI. So it pops up and it's this guy, Dr. Berg. So I start watching. He's got like 4,000 videos on YouTube, and he
Mm-hmm.
talks not just about the disease and the symptoms. He talks about why the causes, what's the cause of it, and how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what you were talking about Chinese medicine, right? This is
Yes.
what he's about. Talks all about Chinese. Not he doesn't use the term Chinese medicine, but he looks at
Right.
it from that perspective, right? And so anyway, I started listening to him and I got inspired. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna follow it perfectly. So first week goes by, perfection. Second week, perfection. Third week, I start
Because
having
that's those 21 days when you have crisis normally, you know?
right. So I mean, I'm like, okay, well, he says not to eat peanuts, but there's a whole jar of peanuts in the cabinet, and I'm hungry right now. So I open.
But you listen to your body. Maybe you have exceptions, you know?
I understand this. However, I know that I knew the truth about
You
the
did sin.
and I did. So I lied to myself. It was a self deception. So the result of that, the result of that is that I didn't feel as good. I felt like, okay, I just sabotaged myself. I just fucked myself over. Okay, whatever you want to call it, right? So then I'm like, that didn't work. So why not just follow it through? And I have been following it through ever since. And I feel like a little kid, joyful,
How do
happy,
you? Ah, okay.
calm, giddy. You know what I mean? I feel good. So, like, what I'm saying about freedom is about the truth is that we have that power. I have that power. You have the power. We all have the power to create that kind of freedom if we listen to the voice. And it's mostly the quiet voice. I mean, people say, "Oh well, we have all these voices in our head." Okay, yeah, well, there's multitudes of voices in there, but the truth is, there's only really one voice, and I'm either in charge of that voice or I let the voice run my own racket. I create the confusion. So when I'm listening and creating the voice, my clarity is really good. When I'm letting my brain go, like I'm not in charge, like I'm not holding on to the string,
Yes.
everything goes crazy, and then I end up making bad decisions, bad choices, and I eat
Mm-hmm.
peanuts and I do stupid things, and then I feel bad. I don't feel like a little kid. This is
Yes.
my this is the whole point of my book, is that if I want to feel young and excited and adventuresome with life and exploratory and all these
Yes.
things, I need to begin to remember that when I sabotage myself, I don't feel so good. And when I follow
Exactly.
through to myself, I feel good. I can feel better and better and better. And then there's things like, what are feelings better than good and feeling great and feeling amazing? Nirvana. Uh, what?
I want to tell you something about this. When you said it completely right. Me and my friend, we were doing last weekend the course about working with limiting beliefs, and there was the whole chapter about. I have actually the paper here, and it's a lot of information, but it talks about inner voices, and that there is this voice of conscience, the voice of the soul, which is our like higher mind, the voice of subconscious, and of the autopilot, which is this inner sensor that we took from others. And we were talking because there were some, and they really put the good questions, and they said, how can I distinguish? And there's of course many things, but usually, like when it's the voice of your higher aspect, this sage mind, it's usually whispering, and often we don't hear it because our inner critic is so loud. And you said you felt good or bad. And exactly, like I said, our issues are in tissues. Our body is amazing gate that is the key to everything, because we came here, we are soul, we are infinite, whatever. But many spiritual people want to escape somewhere. But actually, we came here to bring, as Chinese medicine says, to bring the heaven on earth, basically to bring our higher self to our body. And when we feel good, our body is that's why it's a huge issue that we are so disconnected from the body, because our body tells the truth. If you are listening to your soul or to your higher self, maybe when you imagine, let's say, I want to smoke a cigarette, right? The instant gratification, and I want to quit. So the instant gratification, what will tell you the this inner devil, this inner critic? It will tell you, smoke it. It will feel so good, right? But when you smoke it, you will feel crap. And the opposite, when you don't want to smoke, your soul or your higher mind will tell you, you will feel so bad when you will not smoke it. You will feel bad in that moment, but for long term or after moment, you will feel good. So it's the opposite. When you feel truly good after you didn't do something, that's why you need to take time, because it will take some while. But if it's truly the voice of your, let's say, of your highest self, your soul, your higher mind, it will always feel good afterwards. But inner critic is like the instant gratification. You will feel good at that moment, but you will feel bad afterwards. And it's actually like it's like, we even wrote here like a page where there was this research. And like, I'm laughing because there is lots of things that quantum physics regarding the connection of brain and gut, and there is this vagus nerve. They're just finding out now, which old, let's say, Chinese medicine knew like 5,000 years ago. But it's like, let's say, the sources of settings of the inner sensor are DNA, watching the patterns of others, um, our own trying to be successful when it screwed out, the mass media, politics, advertisement, internet, social media. So this is how we are in this world full of informations, affected. And it goes truly so deep that we think it's our opinions. That's why the inner conflict is created, you know.
That's right. And so the inner conflict is about confusion.
Yes.
Being true to ourselves is about creating clarity. So what I've
And
learned
peace.
in peace. So what I've learned is when I practice being true to myself, like listening to that voice that says, go do your exercise, don't eat that, go
Yes.
eat this, say something kind to that person, whatever it may be. When I follow that, right, what I'm what I'm doing is I'm creating mind clarity. I'm
Yes.
creating clarity. Now, the less that I do that, the more confusion that I create in my brain, right? In my consciousness. So the more confusion, the worse that I feel, the more clarity, the better and free that I feel. Because
Yes.
when I'm creating the confusion, I have to do things like remember what I said. Why did I say it? I'm creating this additional conversation. So I'm using up all this energy that if I was just be true to myself and do the things that I know that I need to do and stop doing the things that I know I need to stop doing, that I don't have this confusion and I don't have to remember anything. Like people say, and you've heard this before, when you lie, you have to remember the lie. You have to remember everything about the lie.
Yeah, and when you say true, you don't have to remember anything.
Yeah, when you exactly right. So it's about, I think, like what I'm realizing now at my ripe old age is that my goal now is to create clarity, to
Absolutely.
have a clear mind about what I'm doing in my life, all these things, so I don't create this clutter around my life and my mind and everything like
Yes.
that. So I mean, there's in the beginning you said, there's like God, there's like a million different ways to get to God. And to me, God is about like we as children, because children are like God. They're very,
Yes.
pure, beautiful beings.
Yes.
Look at a brand new baby when they're just first born, right? They could just like look into your eyes and they have nothing going on.
Yes.
They're beautiful, right? And that's like
Yes.
the true definition of beauty. Same thing with puppies and
I want to share you something. I have an amazing coach now, and he's actually helping me to activate my true blueprint. And he's able to go truly deeply to my patterns where I become numb normally with other people. And he's able to go there gently. And it's a short story, but it's connected totally with inner children. And he basically made me, and I did many guided meditations for awakening inner child, but it just didn't work. But somehow our energy interacted, and I truly felt like I'm there, that this is how you feel. It's real. It's not just in head, because we can say so many affirmations and things in our head, but we truly need to become the magnet and feel it in the body. That's the key, that many people forget about. And he told me to meet my inner child in a garden. I could see all those beautiful fruits and the pathway and the green and the sun. And I felt, and I literally, that kid, I saw like a very sharp picture when I was a child. I didn't even remember that. And later on, I talked with my mother, and she said, like, yeah, you had exactly these clothes and these glasses. And she even showed me the picture. And that child said to my lab. And this guy was like very gently guiding me, and I was asking her, so what do you need? And she was like angry, like, and I'm like, what's going on? And she said, like, why you're ignoring me? Like, I could hear it in my brain, like, why you're not able to focus on something? And I'm like, why? Because you don't allow me to play. When you play, you will receive lots of information, you'll be released, and you will be able to write those articles. And it started to connect. It was not even many things, just came like a visuals. It wasn't like a word. But she said, like, to play, and then she took me by my hand, and we just laid down in the grass, and we're looking at the sky, and it felt so real. And then there were some other visualizations where I had the chain, and then I felt like I'm flying again. But it felt, they say, how you think it wasn't just like bullshit in your mind. I'm like, because I felt the changes. That day I experienced a breakthrough in certain things where I was pushing there this masculine, I need to do, I need to do, I need to do, I need to create, and my friend told me a funny word for it. He said, like, that was a sacred rebellion, because your inner child, or your inner receiver, your inner feminine, was already so fed up that it will not allow you to take action and be analytic and all that qualities of the masculine, which I was trained all my life just to create and be productive, otherwise you're nothing. That you will truly need to get a slap to just sit down and receive. And in that state, you will be able. And actually, after half a year, I was not able to create content for my page. I sat down and I felt so in peace, and I started to write. So it was an amazing experience when I truly connected with my inner child. And my friend who saw me after and my reactions, he was like, you're becoming more like a kid, like less friction and tension and more like playful. And I can feel it in my trainings in martial arts and dancing, look like something, or this dance needs to be in certain way and constructions.
right. And what do kids want to do more than anything else?
They want to play, they want to laugh and have fun.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Not to prove, not to do something to get some gratification.
Nothing to prove. That's it. They want to play. They want to,
Nothing to prove.
and that's it. I mean, it's not even, they don't even know. If you ask a kid, why do you like to play? What are they going to say? I don't know.
Exactly.
That's what's so sweet about it. I really love this conversation. We're at an hour. I think that we should pick it up.
Yeah.
Time. But this is great conversation. I really appreciate that you have different perspectives. I remember when, I think I might have told you this, but I mean, like I said, I'm 64. I'm not trying to.
Wow, I would say you're 10 years more or less. I mean, I swear I wanted to say less.
Yeah, less. Older. Doesn't matter, because inside, I mean, I feel very young. And
Yeah,
you know,
same here.
I've been through many different things, like so explorations, trying to find myself. I've been trying to find
Yes.
myself for all these different years, right? So I went through, I never did Qigong, but I did
There's so many
Reiki.
ways.
I studied all these, the yoga. I mean, there's just like hundreds of different things that I've studied over the years.
Right.
Books, I got a bookshelf full of books, right? But I was never looking for this child, my inner child.
Yes.
And I was like, wait a minute,
Beautiful.
this is like the Wizard of Oz. This movie, right?
Yes.
Right? It's always been there, and I never left. So my inner child.
Anyone who is watching, I really recommend the movie, and it's all about this inner child and this beauty of living simple life but connected to your heart and playfulness. It's called La Bella Verte. It's like the beautiful green. It's about the girl who is alien and she comes to the earth and she's like experiencing all the weird things because they are connected to the nature and to themselves, and she comes to Paris, and and there is a lot of moments with children and with people, and they're functioning in their minds. So it's truly interesting, and it's really like when we're talking, I love it. I feel like the Ouroboros, like the snake that it eating his own tail, came here. That all these things that we are trying to learn as adults, like let's say this 8 weeks challenge that I have to recognize and work with your inner saboteurs to come to your sage mind, and I'm gonna do after we finish certain exercise. It's like an app, and it's really cool app. It's truly about getting back to this state of inner child that we need. So imagine how different the world would be that if we don't have to go all this way and we can embody it since we are young.
Yeah. There's this in my book. I'm looking for a little thing that I wrote about asking ourselves questions, because it's like
Questions, yes.
when we ask ourselves the right questions, then we can come up with some answers, right?
Yes.
I'm not finding it right now. I can't remember where it is in the book. Hang on, here it is right here. So it says, if you're interested in learning more about being true to yourself, the place to begin is to ask yourself some of these questions. And I wrote down, there's probably like maybe 10 of them, but these are just examples. I'll give you a couple of examples. So why do I always pretend that mostly everything is okay? What is it that makes me
Yes.
think it's better to pretend than to be myself? Why have I concluded that it's better to pretend than it is to be authentic? Why is it so difficult for me to be real with others? Why don't I
Wow.
speak?
Powerful questions.
There's just simple questions, and
Yes.
and I can say for sure when I was, in my growing up years, and I'm still growing up, but I've questioned so many things, and what I realize is that I've been missing the point for many, many years. And so my where I'm at today, I don't need to find myself anymore. I know
Yes.
where I am. I know who I am, is to just be who I am, which is that little inner child, and be happy go lucky and stay true to myself. It's really that simple. But
Yes.
getting there is the difficult part, because you know how many years did it take me to get to sort through all that craziness?
Takes a fucking while.
Yeah, it takes a long fucking time, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to. Here's a thing that I learned, and I think that after this, maybe you have the last word, and then we'll go. But I was doing a seminar, and so this guy gets up in front of the room and he says, "How many of you have baggage?" Of course, I'm like, "I got baggage, lots of baggage."
Everyone. Yeah.
If you were going to put it in a box, how big would the box be? And I'm like, big. Could you put it in a truck? No, that's a little bit too big. He said, well, how about a wagon? Would it fit on a wagon? You know what a wagon is?
Yeah, I know.
The thing that you pull, right? I said, yeah, it would fit in a wagon. Okay, great. He said, now, so imagine that you're going down the street, you're walking down the street, and you have this wagon that you're pulling, right, with all your baggage. So he says, how do you just like let go of the baggage? Just like that. We have
Okay.
we have the power to
We
let go of
do.
it all that quickly. And he's like, how can you just let go of it? And I'm just like, I don't know. It's all stuck in my head. How do I let go? I couldn't figure it out. He says, it's really easy. Just let go of the handle.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. Just let it go. Let it be what it is. Accept it for what it is
Yes.
and for what it isn't.
It reminds me that the most important thing about healing, people think it's just always continuous, like healing and thinking you're broken and fucked up, but it's actually not. It's not about that. It's about ability to sit with yourself and sit with your emotions, and letting go of the need to control things, because that's what ego always does. Just for a while, letting go. You reminded me with this handle, the story about the snake. There is like a picture, it's like a meme, and there is this saw, like very sharp, and the snake that wants to kill it, and more it's trying to kill it, of course, is more like, dying, right? And more blood. So you just sometimes need to release it. And the funny thing is that everything inside is total mirror for the outside, because when you said about the baggage, I had so much baggage all my life, and it was always manifested outside. Anytime I was traveling, I had issue. I have experiences when I was flying somewhere and I missed the flight because I wasn't able to pull something out of my. I couldn't pay because I didn't have money, and I couldn't. I didn't want to let it go. Didn't want to give it up. So I couldn't put it just to the trash. So I better missed the plane, And now as I was moving, I had really like harsh cycle, but beautiful one that I moved many times, and I was always and I could have observed like, how hard is it to let go of the old things, But as you said, questions, not because most of the people have just main questions where their saboteur called victim mentality is there, and they say, why me? That is the only question, right? Why me?
Yeah.
But if you start to ask questions, the right questions, and now, because it's not about like you're not getting triggered anymore. I know that when you go in matrix level up, there is always, when I tell to myself, I mastered this is good, I'm already good. There is something coming, like a huge trigger, either from partners or from friends or from the outside, for something that you care about, of course, therefore it's more important to you, so it has stronger emotional charge, and it comes. But the trick is that you are able to react faster because you created those new pathways, and you're able to have this 1 second when you choose if you fall into the survival mind and you just start old drama, bullshit, emotions and reactions, the automatic pilot, or you choose, okay, I can react differently. I can ask myself, what does it show? Maybe it's not just good or bad. Maybe it's serving something. Maybe I can ask questions. Maybe I can ask this person something different. Maybe they are acting because they are mirroring my own wounds and they are also wounded. So that's the difference. It
This is,
becomes easier, but in a different way. It will still be happening, but
you
you
said
will be able to see differently.
yeah. You said one of my most disfavorite words. My unfavorite words.
What is it?
Maybe.
Okay, definitely.
I hate this word. No. Yeah, it's like maybe I can ask myself some questions. No. I can ask myself some questions.
See, you noticed that was my subconscious. Normally, if I speak, I would never say maybe. So I was
Yeah.
already
This is what trips
getting
us
along.
up all the time. Maybe, oh, maybe they're going to be mad at me. Maybe if I should have said this, maybe if I would have done, maybe. I'm like,
Blaming. The victim is so huge in the society. Yes.
no, I know. You're amazing.
You too. I love
Why
this
don't we
talk.
do this? Why don't we do this more often?
We have to. No, we have to. We can.
We will.
We will. We already doing.
All right. Okay. So
No
this is
fear. This is Buddha position. No fear, actually.
no fear. Which one is it?
This one, it's the Buddha no fear statue. There are many statues like this. It's called like no fear. You're open to receive, and you're also open to push. So it's kind of like yin yang. You can receive,
Yeah.
but you can also push.
I'll
There
have
is
to
many things in this embodied yoga and embodied movement where you basically embody in coaching the you go with the clients. That's the last thing I want to say, because many people think that they can solve therapy through talking, but actually, like I said, it's all wired in my body. So maybe I can say, yes, I'm good, but you like this, so we are trying to go with client through the poses, and how would you feel in your body if you didn't have this blockage, let's say, of being seen as a dance teacher and not having these wounds. So there are certain poses like boundaries or receiving or expanding and taking space, and it truly
Oops,
okay.
sorry.
No worries. Actually,
No,
that was the last.
that was
I
that's
don't
fine.
know. Anyways, what I wanted to say, that as my as emotions and mind thoughts and everything going on in mind has affecting the body, the same is with body, like by your that's why qigong, yoga, whatever you do is so important, because by the positions of the body which activate certain thing, you can change your mind. And let's say you are scared, how can you feel it's much more difficult to be scared if you're like this. So it's truly powerful. It's simple techniques for this embodied coaching, and it makes miracles within people.
Very good.
All right, that's
Yeah.
my last.
Life is a journey.
Enjoy the presence.
Enjoy it. Right. Okay. So we'll end here. And so then anybody that is interested in my book right now, I'm giving it away
I'll
for
read
free.
it.
But in about 2 weeks, it's going to go into the marketplace for sale. So if you're interested in a copy, send me a DM. You can find it very easily, and I will send it to you. And when you're ready, Zanaya, when you're ready to schedule another time, when you have the free time, the freedom,
Yes,
when you
there are
have the
infinite topics.
yeah, we will continue on. Okay.
Yeah, I really feel, and there's so many people who it would be lovely they would be heard.
Yeah.
So as well.
All right. Well, thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Be
Yes,
safe
and don't
out.
forget to observe, be a watcher of your thoughts.
Stay true to yourself.
Amen. Okay.
Okay, sweetie. Take care.